In a day now. Doo-doo. I'm going to try this. Hold on. Oh boy, this is going to be fun till the daddy takes the T-bird away. Can you see a countdown going on, anybody?
All right. I think we're having some issues here with the intro, but it's all good. Joseph, can you hear me? Big Joseph Haran. Check 1 2 1 2. Are you there? Oh boy. All right. Well, hopefully can you hear me, Joe? Check 1 2, Joe.
Oh, Chingao, this is terrible.
You hear me, Joe?
Yes, I can hear you. I was trying to play our entrance music, our theme song.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it's not playing. So I'm not going to bother. Guys, I may edit this show because this is supposed to be our big Labor Day celebration program with the incomparable Rick Glaser. Rick, hi, brother.
How you doing, guys?
Guys, I apologize. Anyone listening, I apologize. We're having these technical difficulties because I am trying to learn how to use this because my computer broke down yesterday.
It looks like he's muted again. So, yeah, Joe's hosting the show from his phone, and I'm going to be picking up the slack where it needs to be picked up. Joe, can you hear us?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so, can you hear me now? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, very good. So I pressed this like 2 minutes ago, the theme song, and then all of a sudden it started playing in my speakers.
Oh, boy.
And then it muted me. So, guys, I won't even bother with any of that stuff, okay? My apologies. Oh. What I was saying was this is my very first time trying to run this show from my not-so-smartphone. Either that or it's operator error. My guess, it's operator error. But nonetheless, guys, so helping me carry the weight on this program is going to be the one and only, the boss, G Funky Boxing. G, welcome to the program, sir. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to get this show rolling, and we got Rick for 2 hours. I know the fans out there are ready to call in and ask Rick questions, and he's ready to answer some questions.
Well, I tell you what, brother, this is really frustrating because I've got this huge delay, right? So I tell you what, guys, let's just get right down to it. Let's just speak with our dear friend, Rick Glaser. Rick, once again, I saw on Twitter that you actually reached out to Don King or vice versa. How did that conversation go, and how is the Don doing on this fine Labor Day weekend?
He's good. Just relaxing at home in Boca Raton, Florida. And not much. We just talked for about, 5-6 minutes. That's all. A friend of mine, funny story is, a friend of mine who just recently became a friend of mine about 2 months ago, Don King is like his hero. The guy's a big boxing fan. He's a retired CPA, a certified public accountant. And we were talking and blah, blah, blah. The next thing I know is I had to call Don, and I put him on the phone with Don, and he was like, really like excited to talk to Don, talking to Don and everything. And it was cool. We had a nice conversation, and he told me, tell everybody out there that he wishes them safe and a rewarding Labor Day. And so it was a good conversation, short but sweet.
I love it. I love it. And once again, it just shows the how long you've been in this brutal ass beating business. And boy, you are a jack of all trades. Like you've got that
Uh,
matchmaker's eye, and you still help promoters put together matchups. You still have that eye for talent, and you can identify. And to talk about what you do for prize fighters getting ready for camp, and they ask you to assist in possibly getting the right
well,
sparring.
well, I provide my company, glazerboxing.com. I provide quality supplemental service to the boxing industry worldwide since 1991, and I do different things for different people, like promoters. I'll make matches for promoters. Get fighters signed up for them. I'll bring them a fighter, sign them up with them. Well, it's not my fighter. I'll just broker the deal. And for between the manager and the fighter and the promoter and with the promoter, I supply them with guys to fight their guys. I supply certain promoters with things like lobbying fighters and with the organizations to move them up in the top 15, top 12, top 10, top 5, so on. As far as fighters go, as far as managers and fighters go, I supply sparring partners for the fighters for the bigger fights. Basically main events on TV,
Yep.
eliminators, world title fights, and stuff like that. And I supply them what they call tailor-made sparring. So if they're fighting a guy 6'3", and he's left-handed and he moves laterally from left to right to left or left to right, I'll find the identical guy or as close to it as possible to fight to spar with that guy. And normally I send 2 guys in the camp, sometimes 3. So
That's
and
amazing.
they'll be in camp. They'll be in camp for anywhere from 3 weeks to 6 weeks normally.
That's an invaluable service, brother, to this business. And
Yeah,
big
well, it's
round
a
of
funny
applause
thing.
for Big Rick Glaser, brother.
It's a funny thing. In this day and age, most fighters, they're more into supplements, and some of them into the performance enhancing drugs. Some of them into the supplements, but the money best well spent is the best sparring you can get. So
That's it.
yeah, that's still the old school way, and that's the way it's supposed to be. But
You know,
these new managers, these newer, younger trainers, they think they know more, and they go with they'd rather spend the money on supplements or steroids or whatever. And I still believe in the best sparring wins the fight. Well, that will give you a guy a better shot to win the fight. Let's put it that way, Jim.
indeed. Well, look, Emmanuel, God rest his soul, he couldn't stand it. And he always thought that people, well, they would hire strength and conditioning coaches just to get out of hard sparring, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he believed just like you that nothing takes the place or does the job of hard sparring before a world-class fight to prepare you.
I supplied with Emmanuel many a fighter to spar with Lennox Lewis. The list goes on and on. A whole bunch of his fighters, the Klitschko's, the one Klitschko, and like I said, Lennox Lewis, and just a bunch of them. When he's trained a couple of Don King's fighters, I supplied the sparring for him. So Emmanuel's old school, and so am I, and we thought a lot alike when it comes to things like that.
Well, I tell you what, it's like I said, it's an invaluable service, and I'm sure it keeps you busy all year round, brother. And once again, that is the beauty of boxing. There is no off season, guys. We don't have to wait 9 months until like NFL until their football season starts, right? So, guys, and once again, we have a busy, even though there are no big fights coming up, we still have a ton of Rick Glaser's Twitter watch to lay on you. Also, we have another full 10-round fact or fiction. And guys, if you look on the ticker, there's the number if you want to call in to the show and be a part of the program and give Rick Glaser your worst. No, I'm joking. Be respectful, guys, or you will be banned from this channel. And there it is. No, ask him anything you want, brother. And once again, the reason why I mentioned all of this, anything that has to do with business, anything that has to do with the upcoming matchups, any question that you have, Rick Glaser knows. Okay, and if he doesn't know 100%, he will give you his opinion, and it's an experienced opinion. So once again, guys, we really appreciate Big Rick joining us on this special Labor Day spectacle. But we're not even going to do fact or fiction, guys, right? We're not even going to do Twitter Watch just yet. We want to dive right in the big news, guys. And we want to see how this has, we want to see if Rick thinks this has any effect on not just Terence Crawford, not just any of his entire stable of fighters, but the overall landscape of boxing. And I think this just scratches the surface. And this is going to prove to be the catalyst in exposing a much bigger underlying problem within the business of boxing. Rick, when upon, and BoMac, once again, he was training Chris Eubank Jr., and everyone knows why now. He was detained at the Manchester airport, and he was found with a loaded gun in his suitcase and was thrown in the Hoosgow, right? And it's stated, according to the Daily Mail, he's going to be detained until his court date on October 9th.
Right.
Oh, boy. What are your initial thoughts, first of all? Because I know you have a very good relationship with BoMac on a personal level.
Yeah, I like BoMac. He's a good guy. He's a great trainer. He's a good guy. He's what personifies boxing. He's a real enthusiastic guy. He loves what he does. He's a clean living guy, as far as, there's no bullshit with him. And he's a man of his word. And I feel bad for the guy. But let me just clarify a couple things. First of all, it was not on his person. It was in his luggage, which was being checked in for cargo. He wasn't carrying it on himself. So I got to make that clear. Not that you said anything differently, Joe, but I just sort of declaring that. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is, there's a hearing October 9th. It's not till October 9th, the hearing, and then they decide whether they're going to release him on bail or they're going to detain him in the country but not in prison. But I don't know what. Obviously, I don't know what they're going to do. From what I understand, there's somebody said a minimum of 5 years over there for a gun. Somebody said a minimum of 10 years. So first of all, here's what I think. I think that if he was licensed to carry a gun over here. Yep. I think that's going to be looked upon him favorably. Yep. I think because he's well known and he's working with Chris Eubank, he's Terence Crawford trainer, and nobody considers him a public risk, that he's not some wacko. It was there for safety purposes only, not because of the fact that he was going to use it to hijack the plane or kill somebody on the plane. I think all these things are being considered. I think he'll get a big fine. And once that hearing goes off in 30 days, they'll probably release him back to the United States, fine him, and let him go. I can't see them carrying on and on and on with this thing. To be honest with you, I think putting him putting him over there for almost 40 days. Let's see, about 35, 36 days in jail over there. I think that'll be suffice. They'll fine him, 25, 50,000, some kind of thing like that. They'll let him go.
You know what? And once again, guys, intent is everything, right? BoMac is a genuinely good guy, and he has enough character witnesses that he should not. I think Rick's exactly right. But in my opinion, Rick, this exposes, and this should be the catalyst that exposes and brings attention to a much bigger problem in boxing. When I first got in this business, in my first big event I covered, I couldn't believe that in the weigh-in, and it was in the Alamo Dome, I could reach out and touch Manny Pacquiao with very little security, just his team around him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's shocking. The biggest stars in this sport are so much more easily accessible than, say, for example, the stars of the NFL, the stars of the MLB, the stars of the NBA. In my opinion, that's exactly why BoMac was carrying around that, smoke wagon, right?
I'll tell you. I watch a lot of NASCAR, and I watch Indy cars and all that. And to be honest with you, those drivers are supposed to come in contact with the fans because they all have sponsors, and the
Uh-huh.
sponsors wanted to spend so much time, signing autographs and stuff like that. Now, whether people realize this or not, those sponsors have a person literally watching him at the racetrack and see how he conducts himself with fans and see how nice he is to the fans and everything else. People don't realize that they send representatives to the tracks. So it's a sport where popularity to get the sponsors counts for a lot, and be nice and everything else. Boxing's not like that because we don't have the individual fighters and trainers and stuff don't really have too many sponsors. It's mostly the events, so it's a little different in boxing. But yes, it's a lot different than the NBA and NFL football and all that. No question about it, Joe.
Yeah, and once again, here's what, and because I'm a musician also, right? And it just made me think of this. And guys, since the advent of social media, and because of the severe ass stomping that he just put on, right? Errol Spence Jr., all the fanatical Errol Spence Jr., and everyone, it's common knowledge now to everyone on the internet that, yeah, they haven't taken this loss all that well. And it's been quite comical, actually, hasn't it, G-Funky?
Yes, indeed, it has.
But I will say this now, you have the added element of Terence Crawford. For the first time in his entire career, he's become in somewhat of an overnight sensation, even though he's been a pro for quite a while. He's become a mainstream commodity now in boxing. He is indeed, without a doubt, the hottest fighter in boxing. So all those things put together, I think protect yourself at all times now doesn't just apply to them in the ring. I think he's carrying around this. And once again, you go to Texas, where I'm from. Yeah, a lot of my friends, you see them when we go out or when I meet them someplace, they've got their handgun. They have a license to conceal and carry. And you see them with their pistol there in their belt.
Texas is like the wild, wild west in the 21st century. It's a little different than most places. You know what I mean?
No, but with the same concept, though, right? Because once again, San Antonio has turned into one of the most, and I'm from San Antonio, guys, and it's turned into one of the most violent cities in the country. So you see a lot of people walking around with their peacemaker by their belt. And it's understandable in this era of American society with mass shootings, that sort of thing. And so, in my opinion, Rick, should take some of that money that they're spending on drug testing, because it doesn't have a huge penalty. Should they take some of that money that promoters spend on drug testing every single big event, and should they apply some of that to greater heightened security?
Joe, it's up to it depends on the situation in hand. It depends on who's fighting, and is it a rivalry? If it's just two guys, one's the mandatories from Europe and the other guy's an American, nobody gives a shit. That it's a different. It depends on the circumstances. That's the best answer I got.
Well, yeah, of course, because I mean, you look at security; it's slim to none at any club show, a club event, right?
Right.
But you look at a big mainstream event like the upcoming Jermell Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez on September 30th.
Yep.
And it's shocking. You go to the media workout, you go to the weigh-in, they're much more easily accessible than these football players.
They are, but they are. Go ahead, sir. But just to let you know, they do have security, okay? But they're what do they call that?
Incognito.
Yes, they're in civilian clothes and everything else. They blend in with the crowd and stuff like that. So they do, but the problem is they should have ones more that are in uniform. So you know it's there, so you shouldn't get out of line. Somebody might take the opportunity to get out of line if they don't see anybody in uniform. It goes both ways, so you sort of got to watch out. But Joe, to be honest with you, right now we got much bigger problems at boxing. We got a great trainer in jail in England. who's a friend. Who's a friend.
Yep.
We got a PED issue. Obviously, it's worse now than it was 2 years ago. And the other problem is we got a whole segment of fans. They're called LDBCers, Haymanites, the Johnson jumpers, and don't forget the dreaded Earlsexuals. They're very upset that their man got beat down to a pulp, and they think with the added weight of 154 pounds is going to make a difference, and that Earl is going to come out victorious in the rematch. But they're going to be disillusioned again.
I have a
So,
question.
Well, I tell you what, you had. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, G Funky. My apologies, sir.
I just want to ask a question, and I don't know if either you guys know it or anybody else out there, because this is just new. But how on earth was BoMac able to get this gun?
Well, the rumor
past
was
TSA.
the rumors going around that he flew out on a private jet with Eubank to the UK.
That makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
that I don't know if that's true, but that's the rumor. Okay, probably could have happened. I could see that because don't forget that's a multi-million-dollar fight. I could see him spending, $50,000-$60,000 for the plane ride on a private plane, 75,000, whatever. I can see that happening. So, yes, I believe that probably did happen. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I would think. Now, did TSA? If not, did TSA fuck up? Yeah, I guess they did. That's the next thing. You
That's
know,
a huge issue.
Yeah. See, if that's what happened, you got to make yourself wonder, like, how the fuck did that happen? That's a scary thought now.
Yeah, because Rick, I'll tell you this from experience. I traveled with my daughter when she was very, very young, and she was on a special diet for her disability. She had to have special formula, and we reached out to TSA days before our flight to let them know that we were going to be carrying special liquid, because that's something that they look out for. Even with them knowing that, they still had to take out every single cartridge of the formula, powder it down to make sure that there was nothing on it, and they ended up making us miss our flight. So, yeah, it's a thing. Like, I don't know how he would have got that thing past TSA here in the States, but if he flew privately, then, yeah, that's something different,
Yeah, that seems like a more plausible scenario, right? But the reason why I mentioned the security, because, intent is everything. That's I think just understanding the man that BoMac is, as well as Terrence, I think that's the intent. That was the intent, to protect himself.
There's nothing else but, of course.
Exactly. And that's why, though, because he is in uncharted territory for him and Terence Crawford. They are big mainstream attractions now. He's a mainstream figure at this point, and he's very difficult to miss in a crowd, especially in the UK.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But no. I will say this, and guys, if you can, let me know if you can't hear me any longer, okay?
Yeah,
so I'm going to read this, guys, and this happened. This happened quite a while ago, right? And the reason why I mentioned this, I'm an avid musician. I'm a professional musician as well, part-time, right? Now, and this happened back in 2004, right? You guys ever heard of a rock musician, a metal musician, metal guitar player, formerly of Pantera, named Dimebag Darrell? His real name is Darrell Abbott, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So they broke up, right? And then he started playing in a band called Damage Plan, which wasn't nearly as big as the mainstream Pantera, right? Those guys are icons,
right?
Who shaped the way we hear metal now. That's how influential they were, and everyone loved them. Well, they broke up, and then he started playing with his brother Vinnie Paul, drummer, right, in Damage Plan, and they were playing in a club tour, which, once again, like boxing, had little to no security in this nightclub. So this jackass, former Marine, he was, I think, 23 years old, right?
All right.
Yeah, no, 25. His name was Nathan Gale, right? He was so fanatical. He was such a huge fan, a sensational fan of Pantera. He blamed Dimebag Darrell for breaking up the band, his favorite band. So he went nuts. He showed up at this club show with very little security and shot him in the forehead while he was on stage, and he was dead instantly. So once again, I bring this up because the last thing that we need to happen in our beloved boxing with our stars is to have a tragedy like this happen. That's why I'm saying, now, once again, Pantera, this would never happen at a Pantera show because of the big mainstream crowd security and crowd control. Okay, but they were playing at a nightclub that's a lot more easily accessible. And when you go to some of these weigh-ins, when you go to some of these media events like the media workout, well, I tell you what, it's seemingly very porous in terms of security. And I'm just afraid that something like this would happen. And I can get the idea that BoMac was thinking something similar. That especially when you consider that all of the fans, well, a lot of them in terms of, well, Spence, what do you call it, Haymanites? What do you call the Spence fans? Rick, what do you call the Spence fans?
Rick, you there?
Well, maybe he took this opportunity to take another call while I was on my explaining the story. But guys, nonetheless, when I first entered into this business, I was in shock how much more accessible. Yeah, I can hear you now, sir.
Okay. I don't know what happened. Yeah, they're called, first of all, they're the LDBCers, Lions Den Boxing Club. Then there's the Haymanites. Then there's the Heyman. Then there's the Heyman Johnson Jumpers. And then and then there's the Earl Sexuals.
Errol Sexuals. That's the one I was looking for, man.
Right. Now that's the Wilder fan. That's the Spence fan. Now the Wilder fans are the LDBCers, the Haymanites, the Heyman Johnson Jumpers, okay, and the Wilderettes. So,
oh boy,
we got all that straightened out, right?
That's right. I had forgotten the aerosexuals. That's the one I was looking for. And I stated,
I can't.
Well, you know, in my opinion, Rick, in my opinion, I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised, that there wasn't a violent incident or an attempt at something at the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder 3 fight in Vegas.
Well, the reason why there was none at the Spence Crawford fight, because the Spence followers were so polarized by the beating their guy took, they were jumping off the bandwagon right there in the arena.
Man, that didn't look, man. That looked nothing like Errol Spence, man. There's something wrong with that dude, man. He just wasn't right. Yeah. And you know, when you hear someone like his former conditioning coach, Blu-ray, look, I ain't going to go into it, but I can tell you that from what I've heard, everything that could have gone wrong in that camp did. Do you think this is just sour grapes and people trying to make sense of the unfathomable in their mind?
Of course. What else would it be?
See, that's the thing. Guys, people, they can't believe that this is the scenario that played out. And it was very similar to Deontay Wilder getting knocked out in the second fight by someone he classified as feather-fisted or pillow-fisted.
Yep.
And
don't forget, he got knocked out.
Situation,
he got knocked out in the second and third fight. Don't forget. The third fight was a face plant. The third fight was a face plant.
Oh, boy. And there it is. I tell you what, which one is more brutal in your mind?
Definitely the Spence Crawford, because of the fact that he got tortured for it was a 9-round fight, but he got tortured for between rounds 2 and 9, which make it 8 rounds, and the referee gave it a mercy stop instead of letting them get knocked the fuck out. So I would say that one, because it was a 9 rounds of brutal. Don't forget, Fury was on the deck a couple times in that third fight. So that was a give and take fight. You know, that wasn't a one-sided beating. It turned out to be a one-sided beating in the end, but in reality, it was a good fight back and forth until it wasn't anymore.
It was a great fight until it wasn't anymore. But look, guys,
Right.
and once again, dare I say this? That's the greatest heavyweight fight since Brewster Liakovic. Well, no. I have to say this. That was the greatest heavyweight fight since, well, Joshua and Klitschko. And both did a lot.
No.
Go ahead, sir.
No. Here, people talk to me about what are the best heavyweight fights of all time, and I said, well, I can't go back to like before I was really born because I'm not a historian. But the best heavyweight fights for all time, no matter if they were world title fights or not. Okay, here's what they are: George Foreman, Ron Lyle, 5 knockdowns. Foreman was on the deck twice. Okay, Michael Moore, no particular order now. Michael Moore versus Burt Cooper. 5 times.
Good fight.
Holyfield was on the deck twice. Okay.
Wow.
Tommy Morrison beating Ray Mercer, and then Ray Mercer viciously knocking him out. Very, very underrated fight.
Yep,
right?
I loved it. But you know what?
Right.
That was one of the most brutal knockouts I think I've ever seen in my life.
100%.
That ranks right up there with David Tua, John the Huggy Man Ruiz.
No, and Michael Moore.
Oh, vicious.
Yeah.
But come on, I think
those weren't great fights. Those weren't great fights.
But I will say this:
one was a great fight.
So, Rick, were you working with Don King at the time, with Layman Brewster, Sergey Liakovic? In my opinion, that's one of the most underrated heavyweight fights in the last 30 years.
Yeah. No, yes, I was, but I wasn't there. But yes, I was. So So here are some of the other fights that were great fights. The first 2 Holyfield Bo fights, Bo Holyfield fights were great. The first 2,
yes.
The third one was not a great fight. Okay, those were great fights. Larry Holmes versus Ken Norton, sensational. 15 rounds of warfare. The 15th round decided in a split decision. Okay. Let's see who else was there. Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas is not really a great fight as much.
That was
as
an ass whooping, brother.
Yeah, but it wasn't. But remember, Buster Douglas was on the deck and he got up to win. It was a real good fight, but it wasn't one of those all-time great upset, but not an all-time great fight.
Well, look, this says it all, though, Rick. In terms of Tyson Douglas, this says it all. There's a reason why Tyson never rematched Douglas, because he whooped his ass. He whooped his ass. And yes, he was on the deck, and he was pissed that he was on the deck because no reason why he should have been. And that was a shocking ass whooping. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Sly Tendencies who dropped a super chat. And
my apologies, guys. Yes, I pulled this on the board. Can you read that? Because my eyes, I'm an old man. I can't even see this on my smartphone.
No, I got you. Don't worry. But
Thank you, brother.
What does it say?
Before I read the super chat,
how much is the super chat? How much is it?
$5, Rick.
Okay, we do super chats $5 and up. There's no $2 shit here. No short stops here.
That's right. I like that.
So what's the question?
Okay, the question is, what does Rick think is a fair split between Wilder versus Ruiz Jr.? I feel like 75-25 is unfair considering Andy has fought more champs and a better resume. What do you think, Rick?
It has nothing to do with that, does it, Rick? Go ahead, sir.
Nothing to do with that. It goes by popularity, and to be honest with you, it should be like probably a 65-35 split in favor of Wilder.
Yeah, guys, your market value, and once again on this show, we stress this all the time, and this is why we always talk about the business of boxing, so that these things make sense to you guys. Okay, this is why we talk about market value all the time, and paying out inflated purses that far exceed your realistic market value, just like in Andy Ruiz's case, making $12 million rock in the rematch with Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia. Guys, he doesn't put that many asses in seats. That determines everything. Your ratings whenever you fight on TV, your numbers as far as pay-per-view sales. Okay, and once again, your ticket sales, that determines your worth in this business. That is something that most fighters and fans fail to recognize, and that's become a huge problem in two divisions specifically.
Yeah.
Once again, the heavyweight division, it's damn near stagnant because of this. Because you look at all the top earners in the heavyweight division, the top guys, in the top 5 specifically, most of them are recipients of inflated purses that exceed their market value. Okay,
Yep.
the two
100%.
biggest earners and attractions in the heavyweight division are Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. Everyone else is a very distant second.
Distant
So,
second.
Joe,
Oh my God.
Joe, I want to mention
Including
this.
Usyk.
Wait, hold
By the
on,
way,
Rick. What are you saying, brother? You're breaking up a little bit.
Including Usyk.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes. And
That's
I want
it.
to mention this. Slight Tendencies also put in the chat when we were talking about great heavyweight fights. IBO versus David Tua, which took place in my hometown of Sacramento at the old Arco Arena.
Oh
Yeah, that was great.
man. Ooh.
That was great. That was a great
You know,
fight. No question.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I remember watching that fight on Boxing After Dark, and Ronnie Shields was in David Tua's corner, and I've spoken to him on this. He said he couldn't believe that Ike Ibeabuchi not only had the chin, but the volume of hard leather that he dished out during that fight. And in his mind, he was shocking. He said, okay, there's no way this guy's going to keep up this pace. Just stay on him and keep slugging him. Keep trading with him. Be smart, but keep on punching with him. And he never stopped, Rick.
Yeah.
What a time capsule fight. That's a great observation, Sly.
Yeah, definitely. Ibeabuchi is something we'll never know how great he could have been. But I don't think, here's the difference. I don't think he was going to beat Lennox Lewis. And remember, Lennox was the man at the time, and I don't think he would have beaten Lennox Lewis. So I think he would have been stopped by Lennox Lewis because he took too much leather. And I don't think he boxed well enough to outbox Lennox. So I think that would have been an issue. And I just don't think that I think he had his great moment in that fight. And I think the style wise, Lennox would have beat him. I think Lennox, he took too much leather, and I think Lennox would have got to him and knocked him out. Yeah,
and there it is. Well, I tell you what, that's debatable, but you know what? I would have loved to have seen it. But guys, when you consider Ike Ibeabuchi, and everyone that I've spoken to who had ever met Ike Ibeabuchi, they all said the same thing. Thank God for penitentiaries. So, Rick, did you ever get the chance to meet Ike Ibeabuchi, President Ike Ibeabuchi?
Yeah, I actually met him in Vegas not too long before he kidnapped the hooker. See, you got to understand something very weird. And some of these countries where some of these fighters come from, this shit's not illegal, number one, and if it and nobody does anything about it. It's normal behavior over there. But over here, we're a more civilized country, so a lot of this shit's illegal. And he didn't understand that you can't hold, a hooker. You have sex for a hooker for $200. She's done as soon as you come. She's out of there, and he didn't want her to let her leave. He wanted more for his money.
Well, did he think that nuptials were in order? What was he thinking?
I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking.
I'll tell you what, that's the problem. No one knows what he was thinking. That man was an island to himself. Holy shit. Everyone that I talked to says, it was obvious to everyone. He would have given Edwin Valero a run for his money. Yeah.
Another crazy man.
Oh, I tell you what, I saw him in Austin in one of his last fights. And I saw him in the hotel lobby. And I said, "Hey, champ." He looked at me like, "Who the fuck are you, man?" And I'm like, holy shit, let's go. And like, it genuinely frightened me, brother. I thought I was looking at the death mask in the Exorcist movie. Holy shit. Wow. Now, you talk about some crazy eyes. I haven't seen crazy eyes like that since my, ex-girlfriend. Holy shit. So anyway, we'll won't talk about that. That's for another show and not about boxing. I'm trying to now. How do I actually get? I'm trying to work this smart phone, and it's not cooperating. Okay, there. Hold on. How do I get this? Okay, there it is. New comments. There. Hold on. Chingao. My apologies, guys. But look, can you guys hear me, or am I frozen?
We hear you.
You're good.
Okay, very good. Because it's not responding. Okay. So would you like to pick out a tweet that you would like Rick Glaser? Okay, let me try this. Okay, let me try this, guys. Hold on. Let me try this. See if we can do this. And I'll try this once, and if it doesn't work, I won't try it again.
Maybe, just
Well, it was playing.
It was playing, then it wasn't. Hold on, let's try it again.
maybe, just maybe.
Is it working now?
It's time for Rick Glaser's Twitter watch. Bing!
What?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got it. Thank you, Teddy, as always. So I have one here from Rick that he tweeted out from August 29, 2023 at 1:20 p.m. And I quote, and you wonder why, we were just talking about this, and you wonder why Wilder and Ruiz isn't happening. Andy Ruiz Jr. is saying in an interview that he wants $10 million for the fight. He's delusional as Keith Thurman, who Bob Arum offered $3 million to Thurman to fight Terence Crawford when Crawford was with Top Rank, only for Thurman to demand $10 million. Ruiz is worth $3 million for their fight with Deontay Wilder, and you wonder why certain fights can't get made. Hashtag boxing. And I think we already kind of covered that, but if you want to add anything else to that, Rick, go right ahead.
Self-explanatory. Fucking guy overpriced. Guy priced for $3 million, and he overpriced himself by $7 million. And don't forget, he originally wanted $20 million. So at least he's going in the right direction.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? And one thing I would like you to once again, I'm doing this on my phone, guys, for the very first time. And thank you for bearing with me, peeps. I appreciate it, and I love you guys for it. But G Funky, can you pull up the tweet about Marty the manager, please? I need that one read, and it's absolutely absurd. And guys, just to give you the backstory while G Funky is looking for it, Marty the manager, and it exposes once again how little he knows about the fight game in and out of the ring. He says that Errol Spence should sign up with Snack Systems.
Oh, boy.
And he thinks that will be the big difference in turning this matchup around. And so Rick Glaser says this. Did you find it, G?
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. Is it from 3 days ago?
That's it.
Okay. Rick says, this guy is a complete jack-off.
You jag-off.
What he knows about professional boxing, you can write on a Matchbox cover with a large yellow crayon. Have a watch of this mental midget, and that's exactly where he said he needs to join Snack in order to beat Terence Crawford. Unbelievable.
Did he not understand? I think a lot of fans are under the impression, as this is former conditioning coach Blu-ray. Once again, they need to put down the pipe, because if you watch and you understand what you're looking at in the ring, Rick, did weight or did conditioning have anything to do with how Terence Crawford dissected Errol Spence on July 29th?
No, neither really. It was, the difference is Earl's much slower than him. He has no defense. He was wide open for everything, and it has nothing to do with any of that peripheral shit. It's just that you're looking at the difference between a very good fighter and a top six all-time great welterweight. And that you saw the difference. You saw the difference on July 29th. And is Earl damaged goods? Well, if he wasn't before the fight, he is now.
Wow. Yeah. You know what? It's hard to argue with that. And we're going to get more into that on what Rick thinks about the rematch in Fact or Fiction. We're already at the 45-minute mark. Do you want to start Fact or Fiction, my friend?
Sure.
We'll do anything you guys want to do. I'm just going along for the ride here. It's 2 hours.
Well, you're our special guest, and you're doing a great job, as you usually do, Big Rick. So we're going to try this. Thanks, Floyd. Hold on, right
Hey,
here.
we ain't ducking and dodging
coming.
nobody. It's time for Fact or Fiction.
All right. Thank you so much, Floyd. As always, great to hear from you, champ. All right. So, Fact or Fiction number 1 for Rick Glaser, and this is a good or bad take from a fan today. And the tweet says, Eubank Jr. versus Connor Benn is a bigger money fight today than Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. Good or bad take, Rick?
Horrible. Come on.
Yes, indeed.
Excuse
That
me.
is awful. Awful take. And that's what you get.
Yeah.
If any of you are not on Twitter or what's called X these days, yeah, you run across these type of things all the time, and just awful.
Well, once again, if a dunce like someone who espouses the ignorance of making the claim of being in this business and naming himself Manager Marty, if he claims to know the business and he has his own channel and it's just nothing but nonsense and noise, then what do you think? What do you expect from most fight fans? Yeah. And once again, going back to the Immortal, and I'm not referring to our beloved Warwick Radio Extended family. You guys are awesome. And we appreciate you guys being here, and we love you for it, especially on this beautiful Labor Day. And once again, it's just going back to the immortal words of the great Emmanuel Stewart. You know what I'm going to say, G? Oh, yeah. Resumes, records, and trinkets are for fans, critics, and network executives who haven't quite understood what's going on in the ring just yet. Do you agree with that, Rick?
100%.
Yep.
Yes,
and there it is. And there it is.
Well,
I tell you what, what's number 2, my friend?
Number 2, Fact or Fiction for Mr. Rick Glaser. With Benavidez and Andrade taking place on Showtime pay-per-view in November, and Gervonta Davis versus Isaac Cruz taking place in December, Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence 2 will not happen until after the Super Bowl in February. Fact or Fiction, Rick?
I'm not sure about that. It might be that week between the last playoff game and the Super Bowl, that dead week on that Saturday night, which would be the last.
That's a great call. That's a great call.
Which will be the last Saturday in January.
If I'm not mistaken.
That's a big week because the hype for the Super Bowl doesn't start till the following Monday. If they go, if they go a week after, they're going to lose too much hype with the Super Bowl and the outcome and everything else. So they're better off going on that Saturday night in between, where they get the playoff Saturday nights, which will be the previous couple weeks. They'll get those to advertise the event properly, and also that dead week. There's nothing going on that week. It's a dead week. The Super Bowl hype doesn't start till the following Monday, Super Bowl week. And I think if they went on that last Saturday in January, I think that they would get a great, the best possible pay-per-view number they can get. I'm not saying they're going to do well. I'm not going to say they're going to do well, because they're not going to, because the rematch the original fight was too one-sided, but it'll do as good as it's going to do on that Saturday night.
Well, here's a different take, Rick, and I know it's been conventional wisdom within people within the business. They seem to think that, it's going to tank because it's not competitive. At least it would seem that way leading into the second fight. But in my opinion, it's a different take now. I think it's going to be even bigger, because before this event, Terence Crawford was not a mainstream attraction. In
No,
my
you can't.
opinion.
You can't. It doesn't work like that. But I understand.
No,
what you're
please
saying.
explain why. I
Okay.
don't think so.
Because
But go ahead, expound, sir.
Because your base crowd that saw it the first time are turned off by it was so bad. I had one guy tell me, Rick, I couldn't. I'm a Terence Crawford fan, and I couldn't stand looking at the TV anymore. It was so bad.
Yeah, that's what Farrakhan said.
Yeah. Who said that? Who said that?
Farrakhan. He said that in service.
Okay. I didn't know that. But it was so gross and one-sided. Too many people. Will look at it that way. Number one, that it was too one-sided. They're not going to pay for a rematch. The other thing is it's too much. The piracy is too high today.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The second reason, and here's the third reason. There's no need for a rematch except contractual obligation, and that's not. There's no public demand for the rematch. Period.
Yep, and something tells me that's coming up once again in Fact or Fiction. Let's move on to number 3, sir.
And there's a question. I don't know. You want to take questions now for Rick in the chat, or you want to just continue here?
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead, G Funky. Let me know who does it so I can try to highlight it.
Okay.
With my Fisher Price phone.
It's all right. I'll just read it. This way there's no
Go ahead, sir.
Happens. But it's from our pal Sly Tendencies, and the question's for Rick. He says,
Hold it. How much is the chat? How much did he go?
Oh, it's not a super chat. It's just a question in the chat.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It says, Rick, Pro Grace is saying Haney is ducky because he wants to change his fight date. Haney says it's because it's on the same day as Fury and Ngannou. Does Devin have a point?
No.
Yes, he does. Devin's got a point. Yes, he does. Because it takes eyes off the fight. He's trying to get as many eyes on it as possible. So he does have a very valid point. That's not a reason that's not ducking. Now, if you do change the date and by a week or something like that, and then he doesn't take the fight, then it's a duck. But right now, the guy's asking not to go on against a mega fight like that, which is going to be big because it's a boxer versus a top boxer versus a top MMA guy in the heavyweight division, and it's going to be a big to do. Do I watch exhibition boxing and pay for it? No, but it's still going to be a big to do.
Well,
so I'm not a Devin Haney fan. Okay.
Well, look, according to the WBC. Well, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
I will say that he's right on that. Correct.
Well, you know what? Technically, this is not going to be an exhibition. It's going to count on their records.
Right. Okay. Well, then it's even worse that the fact that they're actually doing it, because I was told it was an exhibition, but I don't pay attention to such fucking stupid things anyways.
Well, I will say this though. This is incredible, and once again, you gotta love the mainstream and casual demographic when it comes to our beloved boxing, because since Mike Tyson's involvement and since they've been showing this on numerous outlets, this bullshit matchup has been gaining some traction and getting some legs. Rick, is it a stroke of genius or showcasing the stupidity and the ignorance of mainstream and casuals?
It's, you know what, I don't want to comment and insult the general public. You know, I'm not going to tell the general public how to spend their money. I'll tell fight enthusiasts, you know, hey, that's not a good fight. But general public, they don't know good from bad. And who am I to say how they should spend their entertainment dollars? You know what I mean? Like, you know,
I understand.
I'll tell you a story, nothing to do with boxing. Years ago, a guy comes to me and he wants to cheat on his wife. And I says to me, why are you telling me? He said, well, maybe you know somebody. Hold it. I like your wife, and now you want me to fix you up. I think your wife's wonderful. You're lucky to have her, and now you want me to fix you up with a broad down on the side. Are you out of your fucking mind? He says, you know what his answer was? Well, I guess I asked the wrong guy. No, you know what? That's not the answer. The answer is you shouldn't be doing it, you asshole.
Holy shit.
So, yeah.
Whoa.
So there you go.
Well,
He goes, I asked the wrong guy. I asked the wrong guy. No, that's not the answer, you jerk off. The answer is you shouldn't be doing it at all. You have a lovely wife, you fucking idiot.
Cool. Yeah. Well, once again, guys, remember, and the moral of the story is, well, once again, the truth is never relative. It's absolute. Xingao. Just remember that, guys.
Yeah.
Chihuahua, man. But once again, it's amazing though, Rick, that Mike Tyson training Francis Ngannou. This has started to gain some legs and start some discussion and buzz with this crap matchup. Yeah. And once again, I think it's stroke of genius with everyone involved.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes,
Who
sir.
did Mike Tyson ever train before? I'll wait for the answer.
Well, you'll be waiting a long time because it's nobody.
Right.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So once again, do mainstream casuals, do they even understand that it's not going to make any difference?
Nothing at all.
Well, look how well, okay, just to show you, look how well that exhibition between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. did several years ago. That pretty much says it all now, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And there it is. What are we on? What number are we on, brother?
Number three in Fact or Fiction. And it reads, Canelo is correct when he states Crawford has only fought one great fighter. Fact or fiction, Rick?
No. He's made everybody look horrible. He's that good. He beat 2 gold medalists, several world amateur champions, a whole slew of mandatory #1 contenders that were undefeated. He just made everybody look that bad. Look how he made well, let's not even go to Amir Khan. Let's say Cal Brook. Look how he made Jose Benavidez look, who was undefeated and supposed to be all that. How about what's his name there? Sean Porter. He's Cavalier, Sean Porter, Felix Diaz, who was a gold medalist. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And then Gamboa as a lightweight. I mean, look at what he did to Ndangu, who was a unified champion. 1 punch in the second round, and the guy's that great. They got to stop. It's not who he fought. His mark of greatness is who he fought, how he disposed of them. Okay, not that he won or lost, how he disposed. And his also great mark is who refused to fight him. Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Manny Pacquiao. The list is endless. And Errol Spence, it took 5 fucking years.
Yep.
Take the fight. Okay,
that's
those are his 2 signs of greatness.
And I also think that the Postal win is very underrated because at the time he was coming off of some big wins and an underdog,
including a knockout over Lucas Matisse. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
That was a brilliant fight.
But he was a mandatory. So that's where I left that off as being a mandatory. That's where I ended it. But yes, Jose Benavidez was a mandatory. This Sean Porter was a man. I mean, Cavalier was a mandatory. I mean, these people got to stop that he didn't fight anybody, including Canelo saying that and stuff like that. You don't hear that coming out of Oscar De La Hoya's mouth or Bernard Hopkins' mouth, do you?
Yeah, look, and it became increasingly difficult for Top Rank to get him the big assignments, even within their own stable, because, look, if you're not a major attraction and you're not a big ticket seller, which Terence Crawford wasn't at the time outside of the Omaha, Nebraska area, well, then, yeah, people can find ways and find reason to avoid you claiming risk versus reward. They will do everything they can to do it. And guys, Gennady Golovkin suffered from that for years. Even when HBO was promoting him and he was a big headliner on HBO, Gennady Golovkin suffered from that in his prime for years.
Yep.
And it's a damn shame. That's one of the things I cannot stand about this business.
Yep.
But it's not going to change, guys. The rules within boxing, the unofficial rules of promotion, they're finite, guys. They're absolute. You don't fuck with the rules. Just ask Al Heyman how it turns out. Right?
That's right.
And there it is. Let's go to the next one, my friend.
All right. Number 4, Fact or Fiction. Triple G does not come out of semi-retirement to face Chris Eubank Jr. next, but takes on newly crowned IBO titleist Sergio Martinez. Finally.
Wow.
Fact or fiction, Rick?
I don't think so. I think he fights Eubank. There's a lot more money to fight Eubank than there is to fight the other guy.
Sergio Martinez, Maravilla. Yes, can you believe
Maravilla.
that though, Rick? Like he was retired for 6 years. He comes out of retirement, and now he's going to be competing in November in Italy for probably drips and drabs to compete for the IBO, whatever the hell that is, title.
And well, it doesn't mean much. And when you've had all these titles like what's his name has GGG. It's about the right fight and about the money. It has nothing to do with some kind of Mickey Mouse title. A real title, who knows? I don't think they'll make. I think after what's his name there, Jennebeck dusts off the Italian guy. I don't think that there's going to be much to talk about. With GGG, because GGG will price himself out compared to what Top Rank will want to pay him.
Yeah, he's retired, guys. He's retired. Look,
Right.
and once again, that's what happens.
He gave up the belts without saying he's retired. Right.
Yeah, and look, guys, when you've grown accustomed, and I knew this, and I told all of you guys a year ago that he was going to ditch his titles and just ride off into the sunset, because once again, when you are recipient of those huge inflated purses that DAZN were throwing at him, and keep in mind, he was a huge attraction on the mainstream HBO platform, and then just fell off into obscurity. When he just was on DAZN, he became a groundhog, a once-a-year fighter, and he still was receiving somewhere up between 12 and 16 million per fight.
Right.
So what's in it then for a fight with Chris Eubank, whatever? Arizona Delata, whomever.
There's a big payday in it for him, but I don't think enough money to for anybody to drag him out of retirement. The only person that would be enough money maybe would be a Terence Crawford at middleweight or super middleweight or something like that. I just don't see anything on the other fight for him. And I don't even think it's that big a fight anymore. I think people are wore out with
Exactly. That's my point for bringing up the inflated purse.
I think its shelf life, like a politician, I think its shelf life is done over with now.
Now, keep in mind, he's not Mitch McConnell or Joe Biden, but he's getting there.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. I said it. That's right. I said it.
So I'll ask you guys this. I want to ask you guys a question, and everyone in the chat as well, since we brought up the potential, not just potential, but then the question with Martinez and Golovkin. Prime for prime.
Mm-hmm.
Who wins that fight? Sergio Martinez or Golovkin?
GGG.
Okay, so this brings up a discussion that G and I had, right? I was telling him, oh, dude, G Funky, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, as well as an all-time great middleweight. You could put him in any era, and he would be competitive and possibly win the championship. True or false? Fact or fiction there, Rick?
You mean GGG?
Triple G, yes, Gennady Golovkin.
Yeah, I wouldn't have seen him to beat Marvin Hagler, and I wouldn't have seen him beat Hagler, but the rest of them in the modern era, yes, I could see him beating the rest. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And once again, and go ahead, G. My apologies.
No, I'm just saying, I would favor and pick Martinez to win that fight. I think southpaw movement, speed, power. It's a nightmare for a lot of guys, man. The style, but I'm not saying he blows them completely out. I think it's a competitive fight, but I think he wins the fight.
Look. My response, G, to that was, and you brought that up earlier. My response was, look, if Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. can eventually cut off the ring and close the distance and bludgeon him in the final round, Gennady Golovkin can surely do that as well.
A lot earlier.
A lot earlier. Yes, sir. That's it.
Right.
Hey, yeah. I mean, Chavez looked like he was Klitschko's younger brother in that fight.
Oh, shit.
He was way blown
Huge.
up.
And do you remember though? Do you remember that ring? That ring? Do you remember that ring?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And there it is. That says it all. but I will say this though. Sergio Martinez in his prime, on that shit, right? Dare I say, on that juice, he looks spectacular.
Yes.
Holy shit. That guy turned into like after the Margarito fight, it was like, oh yeah, he's just a guy. And then all of a sudden he turned into an absolute beast at 160.
Right. That's that when he knocked out Paul Williams, the look on Al Heyman's face was priceless.
Oh, and also, did you see Big Dan the Man Goosen put his hands on his head like, holy shit, what have I just seen?
Oh,
and then your favorite promoter, Lou DiBella, running around like a coked up madman. Did I say that out loud?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Boy.
All right.
I didn't mean to say that on the air. Woo!
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. Let's move to the next one before I get myself in even deeper trouble.
All right, number 5. Bob Arum is correct when he states Canelo beats Jermell Charlo easy. Little Charlo is nothing. Fact or fiction, Rick?
Whoa.
Well, I don't agree with him. I don't think it's easy. I think Jermell's a good athlete. He's pretty quick. He's big even though he's a 54 coming up. And I think he'll be able to use his legs that night, and he'll have his full strength. And I think it's a fight. I think Canelo eventually wins, but I think it's a much better fight than people think it is.
I do.
Wow.
Too. I do too. I agree with that, Rick.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's going to be very interesting in the first half of the fight. But a lot like Caleb Plant, he's going to have a mild amount of success. And yeah, he's going to run into some hard leather. And unless he can get the respect of Canelo and hurt him, which I don't think is going to happen, they're gonna feel like BBs bouncing off of an elephant.
It'll be like a fly hitting an 18-wheeler.
Indeed, and that's why I'm saying if he can't do anything, to keep him from, in the immortal words of Teddy Atlas, to keep him from walking through the front door, he's in trouble. Yeah, that's it. So as you were, G Funky, the next one, my friend.
All right, number 6. Amir Khan is correct when he states Terrence Crawford should avoid moving up in weight like I did to face Canelo.
Dude, I couldn't even wait till the end to laugh. Holy shit. Did Amir Khan just compare himself to Terence Crawford?
Yes, he did.
Wow, that is some set of balls and ego on Amir Khan.
No, that's delusion. It's a medical issue.
Yeah, well. Oh, Chingao. Rick, would you ever compare those two fights for Canelo?
No, please. God damn.
Yeah.
Oh, but though, that Mayweather avoided him purposely. I can't even say that without laughing either, man. But some fans to this day claim that Floyd Mayweather Jr. purposely and it went out of his way to avoid Amir Khan.
Well, there is a little truth to that, okay? Because Floyd Sr. told Floyd Jr. that that's the wrong style. The guy moves around. You take too long to catch up with him. He'll hit you one time, move away, and you'll beat him. But we don't need to fight. It's ugly. That's what happened. That's a fact.
Yeah,
okay,
I believe that. I believe that.
It wasn't because they thought Amir Khan would win. They just thought it was an ugly fight.
Yeah. I agree with that. And so I will say this though. And whenever people actually brought that up to me, fans, my response was always this. Okay, so you're telling me that you think Amir Khan will outbox a guy with the best reflexes in boxing and the best athlete in boxing from mid to long range. Is that what you're telling me? Okay.
Right. No,
That's just
no.
nonsense. That's nonsense.
Right.
Holy
Right.
shit.
It had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with abilities. It had something all to do with styles. That would have been an ugly fight. That's all.
Styles
That is
always
correct.
make fights.
Yep.
And I agree with that.
Yep, I agree with that as well. Next one, por favor, G Funky.
All right, number 7. Liam Smith is correct when he states we're tied 1-1 now. We need to find out who the better fighter is in the third.
He's shot. Forget about it. It was a one-sided beating. He's completely shot. Okay, whether it was the weight, what it was, doesn't matter. He's gonzo. He didn't win a round. He didn't win a second of the fight. He sucked. Oh, he was
look, and I'll say this, Rick. You balloon up to over 200 pounds, and you think you deserve another fight at this level?
Well,
kiss my ass, Beefy.
Here's the funny part. He knew there was a rematch, and he still blew up.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He knows he's got a big fight coming up, and he balloons up over 200 pounds. And now he thinks he deserves a third fight and another big payday? He can kiss my ass.
Hey, Joe, that's why I played this one.
He's got to go.
Look, brother, you looked as every bit as old as you do outside of the ring, too, with that gray hair. Don't even lobby for a third fight. Man, you stunk out the joint, brother. Yep. That's all I have to say, man. Look, that shows no respect for the fans, the promoters, anyone who invested in this second fight. If you balloon up like Ricky Hatton between fights and you stink out the joint and then demand a third fight or think you deserve one, brother, you don't belong at this level in boxing. Go to the club level.
Smith can go ahead and retire and become Steve Martin's stunt double. All right, that's what he can do. Okay.
Holy shit, Steve Martin! I love it. Woo!
Boy.
Oh, I'd like to see him in the UK equivalent, the UK remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So who plays John Candy then?
Oh boy, Ricky Hatton.
No, the Prince Nassim Ahmed. Woo!
Yes. All right, you ready for number 8?
I was born ready.
All right, so Joe, you might have to help me with this one.
All right, here we go, brother.
8. Just like back in 1960 when Floyd Patterson knocked out Ingemar Johansson, okay. In 5 rounds to win his title back, Errol Spence Jr. will do the improbable and knock out Terence Crawford at 154 pounds.
No shot. A whole set of different circumstances. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, look. And that's, and my point in bringing that up, Rick, and I want to get your thoughts on this. That's how improbable this is. Now, once again, we've seen guys, and more often than not, like Jeff Lacey, Joe Calzaghe, like Lucien Bute, Carl Froch, even though they both had rematch clauses for an immediate rematch if they chose to invoke it, they thought the wiser of it, and they said, you know what, I don't look forward to another ass whooping like that. And once again, guys, it's the nature of the loss. This isn't just Hasim Rahman versus Lennox Lewis, in which Hasim Rahman caught him with one clean shot and down he went.
Right.
But it was competitive leading up to that point. Okay, we're not talking about that. We're talking about not only did it end in a vicious knockout, but he washed him from start to finish. As soon as he took away that jab, it was over. And he knew exactly what to do and how to do it. And it wasn't even competitive. And so so if you want to know how improbable this is, the last time this has happened between 2 elite level fighters, 2 pound for pound guys, you have to go all the way back to 1959 and 60, when Ingemar Johansson knocked out the champ, Floyd Patterson, flooring him 7 times in 3 rounds. It wasn't even close. And everyone in his corner advised him to stay away from Ingemar Johansson, saying, look, you need some tune-ups. You can't go into an immediate rematch and expect anything different. Floyd Patterson Well, he said, you know what? I believe in myself. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to be more disciplined, be more focused, and I believe in myself. And I know I can beat this guy. And 9 months later, okay, he goes and fights Ingemar Johansson and knocks his ass out beats him up from start to finish and finishes him off in the 5th round. That's the last time, guys, something like that has happened.
Wow. 60 plus years.
That's
ago.
how improbable, guys, this rematch is if you're hoping that Spence is going to turn the tables and dominate Terence Crawford.
Yeah. And just like Vince McMahon's old.
What I told somebody today, and he thinks that Spence is going to win the rematch. I says it'll be a moral victory for Spence if he's not carried out on a gurney.
That's right. Look, guys. I think. Now, this is just my opinion. Once again, I think this is going to look more like Sugar Shane Mosley and Vernon Forrest rematch, or Jermaine Taylor, Kelly Pavlik rematch, and it's a moral victory that he just makes it to the finish line, but still loses decisively. Now, in your mind, Rick, does this BoMac debacle? Does this one hinder the announcement and the negotiations of the Terence Crawford Errol Spence Jr. rematch?
I don't think so. It's going to be the fight will probably be the last weekend in January. That's my prediction.
Well, let's just face it, though. He needs Terence Crawford to come into this rematch with a Sunday morning hangover to have to hope to have any kind of success. In other words, he needs the help of either an injury during camp or, something going on in his personal life to hope to have any success against Terence Crawford.
It won't come. It won't come to that. Terence is a professional, and he prepares like a haggler did in a prior generation. And he's a pro. He really is a pro. That's all there is to it. And I just don't give him any shot. Just don't see it. He'll have no trouble making the weight. Easy. That won't be an issue. I just don't see it. Earl will be pushing his punches. Earl will be pushing his punches more because his legs will be farther apart this time because he'll be more shot. After that beatdown he just took, he'll regress and game over easy.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this something, Rick. Do you think that Bud Crawford, the Errol Spence sequel, do you think that will be finished and concluded in time for Terence Crawford to be available for Cinco de Mayo of next year?
100%.
Well, then I tell you what, Jermall. Sorry, brother. It doesn't look like you're getting the Canelo fight again. Because I tell you what, the demand has been breathtaking. If you're a big fight fan, you have to be in awe of everyone just beating the drum now for Terence Crawford Canelo. It's been wonderful to see the amount of mainstream fans.
There's no demand for Jermell Charlo. He hasn't fought in 2.5 years, for Christ's sake.
Oh, speaking of which,
the ring, it'll be 3 years. Come on now.
Speaking of which, Rick.
For that fight.
Yeah, well, right now, honestly, speaking of which, I did have an update. And we're going to speak with Coach Ronnie Shields tomorrow on his show. And yes, guys, he is doing much better from COVID. Thank you for your well wishes and your prayers. And he's going to be with us tomorrow evening on Real Boxing with Coach Ronnie Shields tomorrow at 8 Eastern. So stay tuned for that. But he gave me an update that he had an intervention. He and Jermall's parents, his estranged wife, everyone who cares about Jermall, they had an intervention, including Roy Jones Jr. And they said, look, brother, what are you doing? It's bad enough that you're doing this going on like you're a teenager or like you're in college, like a frat boy. And you've got 5 kids, but then you're airing it out on Instagram. This has got to stop. You're going to stop this nonsense. Not only are you ruining your career, but you're ruining your life. And so they talked him into, and he ultimately decided himself that he was better off, and he still loved his, estranged wife of 2 years, the one that was filing for divorce. They got back together, and he's now in Florida, Pensacola, Florida, spending time with one of the greatest mentors in boxing today, Roy Jones Jr., and they're going to counseling and even Bible study with Roy Jones. How do you like that, Rick?
Well, it's a funny thing. Roy is a quality person, very likable. He has good sense about life, and he might be the right person to help the guy out, Well,
so, Ronnie seems to think so. And he ultimately thinks, this is the best thing for him, to get back together with his wife, who still loves him very much. And she's always been the anchor, according to him, always kind of held him together. And I believe that because of what we've seen since they split up. Right. So anyway, so Rick, my big question, the reason why I'm bringing this up, one, to update all of you guys on the Jermell situation, and two, can he be a fighter of consequence in his comeback, or do you think anything he's accomplished in the sport has already happened?
He needs 2 fights to regain 2 victories to regain credibility and make him an interesting player to fight a Canelo. Because if not, he can't draw shit right now.
Okay, I've got to point this out, guys, and let me see if I can do this. Do you see that?
Yeah, it went away though, but we saw it.
Oh shoot! Hold on. Let's try it again.
There we go. There you go.
It's cheaper to keep her. Holy shit! Oh, Chingao. Well, yeah, so he sat out.
With stupid comments like that, he should give us $25. Come up, you shortstop outlaw.
Oh shit! Hey, do we have any more factor fictions left, brother?
Yes, we have a couple, but I'll
all right, very good.
This about the possible rematch and of the probability of Spence winning. Yeah, it's just like Vince McMahon's old theme song. No chance in hell. All right.
You know what, brother? I'm beginning to believe that. And now consider how long Jermell has been, the guy next in line to fight Canelo. Do you remember way back when, almost half a decade ago, when he became Canelo's mandatory at 160 pounds?
Yes.
How long ago was that? 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
At least 5 years ago.
That's how long he's been waiting for this Canelo fight. And guys, I don't think he's ever going to get it. Yep. I just don't think it's in the cards.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately for him.
And this is who I feel. This is who I feel bad the most for. Those Coach Ronnie Shields.
Yeah, Coach Ronnie. Yep.
He's been hoping to get another crack at Canelo. He hasn't. Now, once again, this is a guy who thought he beat Canelo when he had Harris Landy-Lada way back at 54, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he thought he got robbed by Judge Levi Martinez, who hasn't judged a major fight since. And he's been waiting for this, and he's not going to get it, I don't think.
Yep. Unfortunately for them. But, ready to move on, Joe?
Now, let's do it.
All right. Number 9 here, Fact or Fiction. Jose Sr. is correct when he states Demetrius Andrade is a superstar if he beats David Benavidez. Fact or fiction?
He can't be a superstar if he beat Canelo. He's still Demetrius Andrade. He sucks.
Fans don't understand that. And they call them torchbearer fights, right? There's no such thing. Look how many guys fought De La Hoya, and they never became huge commodities. Not like Floyd Mayweather did. It's entirely up to the real bosses of boxing, guys. The fans. They determine everything.
Yep.
Rick, why do you think fans believe this shit? Even guys in the business. They think if you fight and beat a guy, you're going to become a superstar automatically.
Listen. Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson, knocked him out, and he didn't become Mike Tyson. Nobody cares. Nobody cared, and he went out with one punch in the third round against Holyfield in his next fight, and then he dropped out of boxing for I don't know 6, 7, 8 years, tried to make a comeback and got knocked the fuck out by Lou Severese.
I remember that fight. That's how Lou Severese got the Mike Tyson fight.
All right.
Yeah, I remember that big Lou Severese.
Yep. No, I think.
Go ahead.
I think Lou Severese actually got the Foreman fight from that. I think, but I might be wrong there. I don't remember.
I'm not sure as well. Such a long time ago, but I will say this fun fact, guys. Lou Severese, you'll never guess who his father-in-law is. Ted Nugent. He's married to Ted Nugent's daughter. Holy shit.
Wow.
Oh, dude, and it's shocking. Like, I covered it, and I used to do commentary for his club shows in Houston. He had a series on webcast, and I used to do those way back in the day, almost 20 years ago. And I met his wife, and I said, "Holy shit, she looks like Ted Nugent." No offense. And he goes, "Yeah, that's who her father is." Because I'm a big time musician, and Nuge he used to be one of my heroes when he focused on music solely, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, she looks just like Ted Nugent with a beautiful version of Ted Nugent. And he goes, "Yeah, that's who her father is."
Oh, Joe,
isn't that crazy? Yeah, I know. I've got no filter, and it often gets me in trouble, brother.
Well, she must have an old stranglehold on old Lou over there. So
yeah, I tell you what, man. Tell you what, brother. Nice. Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. Way to segue that. And honestly, I think that's one of the greatest rock solos of all time.
Great song.
Rick, we've never asked you this. Fun fact, because it's a Labor Day extravaganza. What is your favorite band of all time? I'm assuming you do listen to music, right?
Yeah, of course. My favorite.
And if you say Jay Giles band, I'm gonna kill you.
No. My favorite two bands are The Who and Jim Morrison and the Doors.
Woo! Let's give him a hand for that. Woo! Yes. Great bands right there.
I tell you what, you've got great taste in the fight game, and you've got great taste in music, brother. The Who is one of my favorite bands of all time.
My favorite groups that are like more solo acts than they are groups. I liked Harry Chapin back in the day. Actually got killed in like May of '81. So
Harry Chapin, Cat in the Cradle.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. W.A.W, a whole bunch of them. Yeah, he was very good. I liked him. I like the Rolling Stones to a certain extent, but not nearly as much as I like the Who and what do you call it? I'll tell you them. A band that I like a lot is Cream.
I love the Power Trio, the original Power Trio. Yes, sir.
I like the Cream, and I like what's the name of the band? I listen to their songs all the time. They had the song Question. Blue, what's the name of that group?
Blue Murder, or not Blue Murder.
No.
You're talking about? I know exactly. It's the Peter Frampton's original band, Blue Cheer.
No. That's not it.
Okay.
What's the name of the group? They got the song called Question. That's it's been hot forever. Oh God, what's the name of the group?
Boy.
Well, G-Funky, you're at your computer. I've got my phone. Can you look that up, please, sir?
Yes, I will right now.
Google Magic, my friend. Google Magic.
I'm having a senior moment with music. I don't have senior moments with boxing, just music. The song's called Question.
It happens to the best of us. G-Funky, could you please Google Magic that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just the song Question. What band?
Well, while we're waiting for that answer, right, my favorite bands of all time. I'm a big prog rock guy and a jazz guy. So I love me some Kansas, King Crimson, Yes, Rush. I
Was
love
it the Moody
those bands.
Blues?
The Moody Blues.
The Moody
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Woo! Justin Hayward on vocals.
Yeah, Moody Blues. Yeah, song Question. That's a great. They're a great group. I listen to them occasionally. Still, but the ones I mentioned, the Who, and Jim Morrison, the Doors, they were dynamite. I mean, I tell you what, those Jim Morrison songs. I mean, you know how far in front of his time he was. I mean, think about it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Started in
He was great.
1965, and the guy was unbelievable. And those songs still. I mean, rock is not what it was because of hip hop and stuff like that and R&B, but still one of those songs are some of the great songs of all time. You know, no question
So
about
when
it.
you say Jim Morrison, though, you say Jim Morrison. I've got a very critical question for you, Rick.
Sure.
Who was the most important person of that band? Obviously, Jim Morrison was the icon. He was the front man, the lyricist, but Ray Manzarek writing all of those beautiful melodies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No question about that.
Fantastic musician.
Yeah, he was great. I also like U2. I like Bono, U2, The Edge. You know, the whole crew there. I like
Love
them.
U2. Yep. I've followed U2 ever since U2 Boy, their first album. I love me some U2, and Bono is one of the great vocalists of our time, in my opinion.
Right. Great front man.
Absolutely. I love me some U2. Gosh, we could go on and on about music, guys. And if you have any questions or comments for Rick, please call us up or just listen in the chat. But right now, G Funky, we've got a super chat that I can't read because I'm older than dirt.
How much did he put? How much? Come on.
It's a $1.99 super chat.
Oh my god! Fucking get a bottle. You get a bottle of water for that.
Yeah, thank you, Joe Biden.
Question, Rick, how did the Giovanni Santillan and I believe he wants to say Alexis Rocha fight come together?
What's his name there? Eric Gomez, the president of called up Top Rank and says, "Hey, let's put this fight together. You're not doing anything with your fighter. Our guy's number one. Let's have a great fight and something worth watching." And Top Rank says, "Sure. How much?" And the deal is put together in a very, very short period of time, and it's a compelling fight. It really is a good fight.
Yes,
that's the way it's done, guys. That's the way it's done. Yep. Despite popular sentiment, if the fight makes sense. Yeah, why not, guys? Why not?
But it's not only financially makes sense for everybody involved. Here's the other thing about the fight. It makes sense geographically. They're both from Southern California. The fight's going to be in Inglewood at the what was the Forum. It's called, I don't know what they call it now. It's still basically the Forum, but whatever they call it, the sponsor name of the building is. It's going to be a special event. I mean, two guys from Southern California, two top welterweights. And it may be if Crawford gives up the title before then, it might be for the full WBO title. Who knows?
And there it is. Yeah. And there it is. Worth even more. I tell you what, D Funky is going to be up to no good in Inglewood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a good, fantastic fight. Thank you for the super chat, Mr. Galvez. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
So let's go ahead and finish Fact or Fiction so we can break on through to the other side of the show.
Holy shit.
So last one here, number 10. Paulie Malignaggi is absolutely correct when he states Spence versus Crawford 2 is more evidence that fighters shouldn't be given rematch clauses or two fight deals. Fact or Fiction, Rick?
Well, he's 100% correct. Okay, but that's not the real answer. The real answer is, okay, should he get a rematch clause? Everybody deserves a rematch clause at that level. But what they should do is they should say that if Showtime turns the fight down, that either fighter can go to that both parties can go to another network and see if they'll put it on. Or put it on pay-per-view, because you can't. I mean, they're going to lose their balls on that. They're going to lose their shorts in that fight. There's no way that fight makes any money.
Yeah, look, and you're looking at 3 potential events that are very big financial flops for Showtime in the final and first quarter, right? In those 3 consecutive months. Now you're looking at November. Have we gone to that Fact or Fiction yet? Yeah, we have.
Yes.
Okay, you're looking at November, potentially. Benavidez versus Andrade. That is a dog with fleas in terms of financial possibility, potential.
Well, I'm not saying that because I don't know what the fighters are actually getting. But if they get a reasonable amount of money for both guys, that show won't make shit.
Well, look. If Steven Espinoza, and once again, if Steven is considering putting this on, attaching it to the pay-per-view revenue stream, and he's almost wording it like it's a given, he has to. That says it all now, doesn't it, Rick?
Yep, 100%.
And there it is. So my guess is that both fighters. Now, keep in mind, Demetrius Andrade, once again, a recipient of inflated purses, was making $3 million to fight soft touches. How much money do you think he was demanding to face Dave Benavidez?
Right.
Tremendous.
And that says it all, guys. Once again, this is the problem with paying out inflated purses, and it's not realistic to your market value. So then you're looking at that, and then the following month, Gervonta Davis, Pitbull Cruz, that's horrific. There's no demand for that, Rick.
No, there's definitely no demand for Pitbull Cruz and Haney again. We didn't even see it the first time. It turned out to be a respectable fight, but there's no public demand for that fight.
And for around $20 million guaranteed, he's got to pay out, Steven. You're looking at a rematch that no one wants to see. So you're talking about 3 pay-per-view events for the network that made a big splash in 2023. Yeah, they're not going to be starting the next year in a very positive manner. So I tell you what, we've got a question from our brother Khalid. I think let me go find that. Hold on, I just saw him. Hold on, here it is. Oh, here it is. There it is. Do you guys see that yet?
Yeah, it's up.
Okay.
Chingao. But I could read
Hold
it.
on, dude. Hold on, brother. Let me try it again.
There it is. All right.
Okay.
It says, salute. Does Rick Glaser think Al Heyman got BoMac locked up in the UK?
Oh, shit.
No, ridiculous.
Welcome, Khalid, to the show, brother. Thank you for joining us, man.
Listen. Heyman's treacherous and devious, but that's too far-fetched for me.
Oh, shit. Oh, dude, come on. Don't make fun of BoMac, brother. Come on, King KO. Be class. Stay classy, brother. Stay classy. Yeah, look, guys, once again, this needs to stop. This automatic rematch clause. This should wait. Look, if there's demand to see a certain fight from the real bosses of boxing, then it'll happen. But otherwise, there's really no need. And then you're putting these networks in a very tough position. Guess what, guys? If they lose money consecutively on several pay-per-views, what happens? How does that affect their TV dates, Rick?
They don't have. There's not one single Showtime show planned going forward. They're all on pay-per-view, so that's telling you something right there, isn't it?
Of course, and that's it, guys. So once again, you have to understand how, once again, demand and your willingness to pay for these events, how that affects everything. And you're not expected to pay for an event that you never asked to see. Okay? And once again, these are on pay-per-view. Well, one of them anyway. Because, well, once again, these guys have demanded inflated purses that far exceed their market value. And then you've got one that's contractually, and Showtime is contractually obligated to guarantee. This is not good for the health of the sport. Okay, and this needs to be rectified.
And hey, look at Khalid follows up in the chat and says, I think Tank will end up fighting Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell already had his
never happened. Stop. That is as stupid as it gets.
But Rick, more important than that, Gary Russell already had his one fight this year when he fought somebody in the crowd at the Tank Davis Hector Luis Garcia fight.
Well, look, guys, and Rick knows this. Look, Gary Russell, his biggest problem he thinks he's a much bigger commodity than he is. Once again.
Oh, time out.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got the Gary Russells mixed up. I was thinking of the Gary Antoine Russell, the 40-pounder. Oh, would he maybe fight Gary Russell Jr.? Yeah, after one tune-up fight because he's been out of action for so long and he had surgery. Yeah, that's possible down the road. That is possible. I'm sorry, I got my Gary Russells mixed up. They're brothers, and I got it confused. I was thinking the 40-pounder is real good. Yeah, the other one shot. There's a possibility that he catches out with that kind of fight. Yes.
Oh, check it out. Outlaw redeems himself. Now saying, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Yes, keeping your wife and kids together is indeed the best thing. And guys, once again, that is much more important than anything you could possibly do.
This guy's different. He's given $5 for $4.99 for a statement rather than $4.99 for a question. Look, you must not think much of me.
No, he just because of your comment before when his first comments, he said, "Oh, dude, come on." We kind of chastise him a little bit, but so you've redeemed yourself, my friend. And yeah, once again, guys, even if you're a great champion prize fighter and making millions. Guys, the most important job you'll ever have on this planet is being a father.
Yep, a great father. Yep,
because that is going to affect future generations. That's far more important than any WBC trinket. Yep.
Good job. Yep.
Thank you, Outlaw. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you very much. And I tell you what, that concludes Fact or Fiction, though, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
here's another one. What's this other one?
Oh, I'm sorry, not the same one, dude. No, like I said, it's my not so smart phone right now. Mm-hmm. But guys, we're at the end of the road then, as far as Fact or Fiction goes. We still have 20 minutes left for Rick. If you guys would like to call, my eyes are too terrible to repeat the number to you. So if G Funky could do the honors.
I'm gonna jump off in 5 minutes too, because I got a conference call exactly 10 o'clock and I gotta prepare for it. So
very good. Then I tell you what, let's do our closing comments then. Right now. So I tell you what, we want to thank you though, Rick, for spending this much time with us on this beautiful Labor Day weekend. And once again, we really appreciate your insight and your opinion. And guys, look for the articles. This guy just penned a new deal with our official sponsor, FightSaga.com. This is going to result in a weekly article. This Fact or Fiction and all Rick's comments on tonight's show, it's going to result in FightSaga.com, a weekly column. Featuring Rick Glaser. So thank you for that, Rick. Thank you for that, Lee Cleveland of Fight Saga. And I tell you what, read about it tomorrow, guys, on the FightSaga.com. Rick, your parting shots for our listening audience here.
Parting shots?
Yeah, your parting shots for our listening audience.
Well, I haven't been to San Antonio since September of 2021, and I actually missed the place. I actually enjoyed myself.
Yes, sir. It's a beautiful day. Don't forget to conceal and carry when you're down here, brother. I'm joking. I'm joking.
No. That's not me. It's not a Jewish thing. So, anyways, what do I think? I look forward to some of the big fights coming up, and like everybody else, I just looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Zorro Ramirez and Joe Smith, October 7th on the Zone.
That's an excellent fight.
That's an excellent fight.
That's an excellent fight. I think both guys are of equal level. Or do you think Joe Smith maybe damaged goods after the beatdown he took at the hands of Beterbiev?
I think Zorro is a touch quicker and at higher ring IQ, and I also think he's left-handed. And I don't think I know that Joe Smith's people will not pay for the proper sparring. I'll leave it like that.
Man.
Wow.
Rick, I want to ask you something before we let you go. William Cepeda is fighting in a couple weeks on the Zone as well. When do you anticipate them trying to make a run at somebody at 135 for him? He's an exciting fighter. And
they got to see what everybody's going to do. Right now, Haney's got the titles locked down, so they got to see if he's going to give it up. Refresh my memory. Who's he fighting again?
Marcito Hesta.
Yep.
Yes.
Filipino. He earned that with that victory over Jojo Diaz.
Right. Yes. That's a good fight. That's a very good fight. He's very, very competitive fight. I like the fight a lot. What do I think? I think that they're gonna, I think he's got like probably this fight, maybe one more, and waiting to see what Devin Haney's gonna do. At least, we know this fight, but maybe after that, they got to see what Devin Haney's gonna do. We got to see what Shakur's gonna do. We got to see. I know they're not gonna put Williams and Payne in with Shakur. It doesn't really make much sense. Because Williams and Payne can draw his own crowd. He's got his own. They got, Golden Boy doesn't need that. They got their own TV deal, and they'll control the atmosphere with him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Well,
sir.
I tell you what, though, Rick, it's about 1:45. We're going to let you go so you can prepare for your call. But thank you
Thanks,
once
guys.
again for sharing the air with us, my friend. It's been a great time. And guys, if you missed any part of this, go ahead and rewind now or check us out for the rest of the week.
This is what we're gonna do from now on going forward. This is a commitment I'm gonna make to you guys. Every holiday that falls on a Monday, okay, whether it's a religious holiday, a federal holiday, whatever falls on a Monday, it's a holiday. I'll do a 2-hour show that night because I have the time. Normally, when a regular week, I don't have the time. But on a holiday night like this, I have the time. So we'll plan for a 2-hour show from now on. Next Monday night's going to have to be an early hour because the Bills are playing on national TV. I think it starts at 8 o'clock.
Uh-oh.
So the Bills are playing the Jets in the opener in New York City. So New Jersey, actually, I guess. But so next week we'll have to make it early, maybe a 7, 8. It's an 8 o'clock Eastern type show. But every holiday you got a commitment from me of every Monday holiday that I'll do a 2-hour show on Monday. How's that? Is that good?
Yes,
Thank you, Big Rick. We appreciate it, brother. Thank you, my friend. Big round of applause for Big Rick Glaser, sir.
Okay,
there you go.
Thanks, guys.
God bless you, Rick. You have a wonderful night. Well, I tell you what, man. Well, it was a lot of fun, man. I'm just so sorry, guys. My apologies for this, the technical difficulties tonight. But hey, we did it, brother. How do you like that?
Yeah, that was fun.
Is there is there anything that you'd like to address before we sign off? And I try to butcher this our theme song going out.
Oh, it's all good. And yeah, I got to get rolling too because 2 hours is quite a long time for me. And it's early for me. I'm in the West Coast. I'm not like Rick and Joe. They have a couple hours ahead of me. But yeah, if any of you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific, I will have Kermit Cintron coming on to talk with some boxing. We'll talk about his career and other things that he's got going on right now. So if you're interested in that, come check us out.
Oh, I want to hear that. I want to hear that. So I better make our conversation with Ronnie Shields tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. I better make that a tight 60. So I don't want to miss that with you and your brother David Duenas. But I tell you what, guys, we're going to be meeting with Ronnie Shields for the first time in a month. Wow, it's been long overdue, guys. And once again, Ronnie's feeling much better. We want to thank you for all of your well wishes and your prayers. And it's going to be great to speak with Ronnie Shields once again. So that's a full lead into boxing right there. Conversation with Ronnie Shields, and then G Funky's interview and conversation with the always insightful, always entertaining Kermit Cintron. And there it is, guys. So, guys, on behalf of Rick Glaser, on behalf of G Funky, I'm Joseph Aaron. You've been listening to Warwick Radio. Have a great evening, everybody.
I wanna Mexico. We're on the road to New Mexico.
FightSaga.com and Halftime Pizza proudly present Real Talk with boxing professional Rick